Paxville Consulting presents the As Told By podcast. Enjoy. Hey, mates. I'm sorry, I have a terrible Australian accent. How you guys doing? Welcome back to As Told By. My name is Ryan. I am going to be your host for this time that you're with us, and we have a special guest, Trae Spears. How are you doing this morning, Trae?
I am great. How about you?
I am, I was telling you before we got on the call, I'm in a different office than I normally am. And so I like to have like a little ambiance, like a purple light behind me, and it's like real chill and it's just like good for the senses. But today I'm in like this white room with a small light, and then like I just took somebody's picture off the wall. So it's just like it's a whole different kind of vibe than I normally have on these podcasts. But hey, we're doing it. We're doing it. I'm super thankful that you're actually on it. You're like my first guest that I don't know. So
Awesome.
This is going to be really interesting for me. I've produced for other people's podcasts, but I've never been like the host. So I'm like, how are we gonna do this? I hope they're cool, like that was my whole thing. I was like, I hope Trae's cool, because if he's lame, I just gotta cut it off really quick. But so far, we're good.
That's
And
awesome.
Trae, you want to introduce yourself for the audience?
Yeah. So I'm Trae Spears. I am the co-owner of Ghostlight Marketing Agency, where we help businesses shine a light on their brand and their business and help them grow. Actually, over the last 10 years, I have helped individual businesses collectively bring in more than $12.5 million in revenue.
Wow.
And that is our goal, is to help business owners do what they love to do without having to stress and struggle over getting their business out there.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I was on your website when we first booked, like I guess it was like a week ago, and I was like, what is a ghost light? And I've heard that before. But then I was like, oh, that makes sense. So for you guys who don't know, a ghost light is this light that they'll set in like a theater for just making sure that there's a light on. And I think there was like some superstitious kind of background for that as well. So like, I guess so ghost wouldn't come in, or cool.
It's,
so
to have the
go ahead.
light for the ghost to be able to see. We want to make sure that it
Oh,
keeps it, and it also is a superstition that it keeps away all of the negative energy. So like any bad ghosts, it keeps them out. But the ones that it is pretty much common law that if you have a theater, you need to have a ghost, or you're not a real theater. So
ooh,
that's, you have the good ghost and you have the bad ghost, and the ghost light keeps out the bad ones. And that's actually a small caveat, is we actually own a theater company also. So we chose
really?
Ghostlight as kind of like a connection between the two, because we want to shine a light in businesses and we own a theater company, so Ghostlight is important to us.
That is awesome. I did not see that. I did not see the theater owning. That is super interesting. I'm like theater kid adjacent. Like I was a choir kid growing
Hey,
up.
same.
Yeah, see, there you go. So like theater kids, I think are what are going to take over the world here shortly. I feel like it's just mandatory at this point.
Mhm.
That's super interesting. So, how did you get into the theater? And like, was that kind of um, like building alongside Ghostlight Marketing? Was that kind of like the same trajectory?
So the theater actually came first. I went to school for music and the arts to begin with. And I built the theater, and then through having a theater and then having to do marketing for the theater and learning how to do it myself, that's what kind of pushed me into doing marketing more. And then I ended up going and getting a master's degree in marketing. So the theater actually started the whole train for us.
Nice, nice. I love that, because we talked a little bit earlier about the branding is the why, the marketing is the
Mhm.
how. And
Yep.
I think it kind of rolls into that, right? Because
Hmm.
you had this very, very important structure, right, with the
Hmm.
Ghostlight, and you were like, well, our brand is to be that background kind of character in our business, in the businesses that we helps life. And I love that because I'm a background character myself. I hate really being out in front. I'm a very introverted person. So this is like really new for me. But taking that idea, that concept, and taking it in, you know, building everything off of that is, that's the how, right? That's the marketing aspect of it, would you say?
Yeah. So that's my why for the longest time, was that I wanted to be for other people what I didn't have for myself.
Hmm.
So when I started the theater company Downstage, I didn't have a marketing team. I didn't have people that were easily accessible to do marketing for us. So through doing that for several years by myself and just kind of learning on the job, I decided, well, hey, I'm actually pretty decent at this. I want to give others what I didn't have and be an accessible person that can help them with their marketing. And that became my why. And then it also gave me the platform for the how I was going to do it.
Nice. I love that. I love that because it's so true. Like when you are, I guess, an entrepreneur, right? You tend to start side businesses or side hustles because you have to do something for your main hustle,
Hmm.
your main business. And you typically are so much better at that than someone you could hire. One,
Hmm.
because you know the inner workings, you know exactly what you want, versus someone who's coming in, they don't quite know what you're looking for the same way that you do.
Yep.
I have a good friend. His name is Wayne, and he does sales. So my personal background, I was a marketing manager for a sales organization for a couple years, and then we shifted into, or I shifted into a position where I was just running a podcast for the CEO, and I was following him around the nation when he would go consult with different businesses on building their sales teams, and yeah, I got really good at telling people how they should communicate their product. I got
Yeah.
really, really good at it. And so that's kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing now with the podcast, with the brand communication consulting, is because you pick up so many skills that if you're, I guess, backed into a corner, you kind of
Hmm.
have to learn how to do it. And yeah, that's my story in a nutshell, right? So my next question, right, is how do you typically approach marketing? Like, is there a process that you have, or is it basically like, let me talk to the person first? Like, what do you start with?
So when I approach marketing for like a new client, the first thing that we do is have a discovery call where basically I just want to know what the core of your business is for you. What is your goal? What is your mission for your company? And then figure out how to get you from point A to point B. My master's degree is actually in strategy and innovation. So that is what I love to do, is create this personalized strategies to help business owners get from point A to point B. And being able to do that almost by holding their hand and walking them through and saying, this is what's important to you. Marketing is such a broad thing that
Absolutely.
people could come in and try to do marketing for a company and go completely left field for what they actually want. Whereas when we come in, I want to know, what is it that you are wanting? And to be completely fair, not every company wants to be a multi-million dollar company. Some companies just want to help people. Some companies just want to get by and not struggle. They don't always want to be one of the top 500 companies in the United States or in the world. They just want to be functional and be
Yeah.
profitable. So that is what my goal is to figure out what your goals are and how to easily and as fast as possible get you to what your goals are.
I absolutely love that, because most people will not be honest and say that, right? Like they'll be like, "Oh, I want to make $1 million." No, I will be good with being able to pay my bills. Like as long
Yes.
as I can pay my bills and I can go on a vacation, I can spend time with family. Like
Mhm.
just get me to that point, because
Right.
I've never, I don't want to have employees, right? Like that's kind of my thing.
Hmm.
I if I do have to hire somebody, it'll probably be like a VA to
Hmm.
do some small scheduling type things, but I do not want to hire someone or have the stress of, if I make this bad decision, 30, 40, 50, 100 people's lives are at
Hmm.
stake. And I love that it's super personalized. Um, I have a client of mine, client adjacent. It's just a good friend that I help out pro bono, and I told him, or he had this idea. He's a musician. He had this idea that he wanted to release a song every week for 52 weeks. And
Wow.
he said, "Is that a good branding, or is that a good marketing plan?" Because there was an artist, his name is Russ. He did that. And so I asked him, I was like, "Why? Well, why do you want to do it? Like, what's the purpose?"
Hmm.
And if the purpose is you want to get rich and famous off of you making 52 songs a week, that's not going to work for you. And then if is it so you could just put the music out there, then yeah, we could talk about how that might work. Because a lot of times what people see as good marketing is, no, they're not really marketing, they're building their brand.
Hmm.
And that's kind of where, you know, how I'm, because it boils down to, I'm a marketing agency, right? If
Right.
you come to me, I'm going to teach you how to market.
Right.
But I don't do the point A to point B kind of marketing that you would do. I do more of that brand strategy of,
Hmm.
hey, who are you, and how do we get people to know who you are and like you enough to support your journey.
Right.
And I think that's super important. And I think, with someone like you, if I were to like pass on a client your way, it would be like, now that you know exactly who you are, let's
Hmm.
now talk about those goals that you're trying to reach. And I think that approach to marketing is a lot better than what I've seen in the past.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very personal. Like that's the one thing that I've come to notice is that the way that we approach marketing is more, it's less of a business approach and more of a personal approach.
Yeah.
Um, it's just one of those things. I've actually had several people that are like, "Well, Trey, how are you going to scale your company? Because you need to hire all these different people." And like you said, you didn't want to hire people. I don't want to hire a team of people that don't know my clients and aren't going to give that personal feel to my clients. A lot of the
Right.
clients that I have signed up to work with me. I don't want to be one of those marketing agencies where you see my face on the digital ad, but then some random person is the person you're on the Skype call with. Like, I want, if you book a call with me, you're going to be on a call with me. So it's
Yeah.
very personal to me, and I take every client very seriously. And I've been asked, like, well, once you hit a certain number of clients, you're not going to be able to have time to have more clients. And that's not necessarily true because every client's journey is different. And
Hmm.
once I've worked with XYZ for a year or 2 years, they may not need as much of my time as the new company that came in that needs somebody to hold their hand through getting set up.
Yeah. And it transitions more to coaching than it does like me being your marketing strategist
Right.
and your marketing manager. No, that's exactly how I see it, right? I have this idea that whenever I get a client that is just starting out, that I'll work with you at at the higher clip for X amount of weeks, maybe like
Mhm.
2 or 3 months. But at that point, I'm gonna start like pressuring you to like, hey, stop paying me so much money. One, to free up my time. Two, so you can stand on your own 2 feet.
Right.
Because at that point, I own your business, and I don't want
Mhm.
to own your business. You're not
Right.
paying me to own your business. I'm just here to help you. I'm here to like give you the ideas and the strategies to move forward. But at some point, you're gonna have to walk on your own, buddy. Like,
Yeah.
eh, and I'm here to support you through that. But at the end of the day, this is you. We're building up who you are. So I'm gonna be real hands off when I need to be.
Hmm.
I think most people don't. Um, I don't know. I guess marketing agencies have become a lot less personal, and
Hmm.
it's showing. It is
Yeah.
showing left and right.
Yeah. It definitely is. Like I have noticed. So once I really started promoting my marketing agency, of course, now all of my social media feeds are flooded with ads for
Yes.
marketing agencies. And just watching those ads, I'm just like, how out of touch are you with what you are doing? Like, you're promoting all this stuff and you're talking about getting brand new clients, but you're wanting to charge them three, four, $5,000 just to start. And I'm like,
Right.
they're brand new companies. They don't have three to $5,000 to start. Like,
Oh
you
my
have to
god.
help them get there.
That yes. I so when I first started, I got let go in December, and
Hmm.
so January or it was November that I started like looking for ways to better my situation, because we like I said, we were a consulting firm, or I didn't say, um at the start of 2023 we became full consulting. Like all of our sales teams had dissolved, so it was full on consulting, and we did not have the infrastructure for consulting, so I was not getting paid. I think I got paid um like every other month, and it was like one paycheck that I was owed, right? So it was like I'm still getting paid from that job because, uh reasons, but
Yeah.
I'm still getting paid for that job. And so in November I was like I need to like get my personal stuff going. And yeah, that was the first thing. It was like, "Hey, you got $6,000 to start?" I was like, "No, I don't have $6,000 to start. I you just got on the phone with me. I told you I have absolutely no money. I'm doing this because like I'm not getting paid for my job. You
Hmm.
said completely done for you. I pay you on my first couple of clients. Like I pay per client. So I why am I paying you to start when you just told me I'm paying per client? You didn't get
Pay
me a
per client
client yet."
after the fact.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
like, dude, that is so jacked up in my opinion. Like if
Hmm.
I'm going to tell somebody I'm going to get you these clients and then you pay me when you get paid,
Yeah,
then
that's what it
then
is.
just pay me when you get paid. Like I'm gonna be
Right.
honest about you. Like I'm not trying to steal your money here. I But here's the other thing. I just won't work with people I don't believe in. That's the
Hmm.
other thing. So if you don't believe in what I got going on, you could use all these sales tactics. And mind you, I worked for a sales organization for
Hmm.
7 years at this point. So I'm like, dude, I know all the tricks. I know exactly what you're trying to say to me. I don't want to hear it. Like, are you the
Yeah.
person who's going to help me get to where I need to be at or not? Like, just
Right.
be honest about it. But yeah, they sure enough do take a lot of the uh, the buzzwords that come in with
Hmm.
marketing and helping marketing agencies. They take those buzzwords and they use them, and they abuse the people who are like really looking for something to better their situation.
Yep.
So I love
Yeah.
that you go in there, you have that call, and you're like, hey, like let's see where we're at.
Right. Yeah. I try to be very transparent with everything that I do. And I put out there, like when I put new programs together, I put the cost of the program on the flyer. So it's easily seen. You know what it's going to cost up front. I despise getting the cold messages from people that want to sell me something, but refuse to tell me how much it costs unless I jump on a call with them. Like,
Oof.
yeah, I don't have time to jump on a call with you just for me to tell you after 20 minutes that I can't afford your services. Like, tell me how much it costs, and if it makes sense to me, I'll jump on a call with you. But I'm not gonna bat around with you. Like, I want to know the upfront cost. And so I'm
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
transparent in that. Like I put out there for everything. If you want to work with me, this is what it's going to cost for these different things. If this doesn't make sense to you, I have other options, but here's what it costs. And I feel like
Yeah.
it's very important just to be transparent with people and be honest. Like don't jerk me around. I want to know what you actually want from me. I want to tell you what I need from you. And then we're going to work together beautifully because we're being open and honest and transparent with each other.
Yeah, that is so much more needed. Like, so I work with churches, small business owners, and all that
Mhm.
good stuff. And a lot of times, they think that marketing is a bad word.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't want to market, especially like faith based and nonprofits and stuff of that nature. They think that marketing is slimy, right? And
Mhm.
they think marketing is slimy because it's a lot of times it is that it's those.
Mhm.
I can't tell you exactly what it is because I need to get your emotions to a certain level before
Mhm.
I, try to close you on a deal. Because once
Right.
your emotions are there, then I could say whatever price, or this is the mentality. I can say whatever price, and you've decided it's already worth it, so you're going to spend the money on it. And
Right.
I can't be that guy.
Mhm.
I make pricing real simple, and don't anybody set up a call with me after this, but typically I will do stuff for free for you until you get to the point of you want to pay me. Like, I
Right.
had someone reach out to me and they were looking for podcast help. I produce podcasts, so they were looking for podcast help, and I spent 2 hours with them after
Mhm.
they stood me up for one call. Spent 2 hours with them, and then, like, I broke it all the way down for them to where if they took everything that I said in that call and they were to start tomorrow, they would be rolling, right? Like, have strategy, have the plan, have a way to put it on YouTube, Spotify, everywhere, have a way to market it, have a way to like keep consistent flow of content going.
Mhm.
For 2 hours I spent with them, and typically that would be like at least a four-figure day for me, right? Just that one
Right.
call. And they gave me $50 because they were like, "Hey, I just want to bless you, so here's $50." And I was rather insulted, right? And the reason why I was insulted because I was like, I said you don't have to pay me.
Right.
Like, you don't have to. I'm doing this pro bono. But then you're just gonna give me $50? Like, it was a disconnect for me. But I had to realize, like, hey, like, sometimes you just gotta roll with it. Just let them do
Mhm.
what they're gonna do. And so it was a good experience. And I think, yeah, there it's become an ugly word,
Yeah.
marketing, because of the slimy tricks that people are doing.
Mhm. Well, that's one of the things that we have dealt with a lot is I've been trying to take the ugly out of the word because there's a lot of people that don't necessarily utilize marketing to their strengths and they just feel like, oh well, marketing is bad or marketing costs so much money you can't do it. When the actual fact is that you don't really, unless you're working with an agency that you're paying to do the marketing for you, marketing doesn't have to be expensive. Like once you learn how to do what you have to do, it can be very cheap or free, which is one of the things that we try to teach. We actually yesterday started a training program with Ghostlight, and the whole point of the training is that I want to teach you to do what I do. I want to train you on SEO and on content creation and on which platform is the most important for you. And we've set it up to where now we're going to be doing 2 hours a week of live training on different topics to teach people how to do good marketing. And it won't cost, once they learn it, it doesn't cost them anything. And it's just trying to like put some good back into the world of marketing and take out some of
Yeah.
that stigma of, well, all of the people are slimy. It's a nasty word. You don't want to use it, and it like doesn't send chills down your spine anymore.
No ghost. That's where the ghost
Yeah,
light comes in, right?
the ghost light is here to take the chill out of your spine.
No, I love that. I love I love that. I love that. Yeah, I think a lot of people miss the easy marketing things that you can do. I recently I'm gonna need to get that link from you so I can put it down in the description. So
Yeah.
for anybody who is looking for those services, the link will be down in the description on YouTube or wherever you consume podcasts, so you guys can connect with Ghostlight and possibly use their services. So I just recently did a prompt guide, right?
Mhm.
For social media. So when you're building out your brand, just follow these. I think I did 6 days of prompts. And if you do those prompts every single day, like just answer these questions, here's why you're answering these questions, you're going to see growth in your social media presence. You're going to see growth in your clientele because it's designed to do that. People, like I said prior, want to work with people that they know, like, and trust, right? Like that's the one part of all the sales guru, all the um, back and forth that I absolutely stick with. Like people do not care about products. They don't
Mhm.
care about what you can do for them. They don't care about the latest and greatest technology. They do not care. They don't. What they care about is the person who's talking to them. When you're passionate about something, it just kind of pulls somebody into that passion with you. And so the prompt guide and I guess the way of marketing yourself, right? Your branding, your communications is designed to, share more about yourself, right? Share more about what I like to do. Like, I think one of those is, oh, yeah, Fridays. On Fridays, I tell them, like, this is the day to talk about all of your hobbies. Like,
Mhm.
what do you really do with yourself? Because you're going to connect with people that may not be in your orbit already, but oh snap, you ride bikes on the weekends, you mountain bike, that's cool. So next time they're looking for a real estate agent or a mechanic or a carpenter, they're gonna be like, hey, I rode bikes with this guy last weekend and he's a carpenter. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that's a part that people are missing when
Yeah.
it comes down to your marketing. It could be as simple as just do what you like doing and people will come.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that because it's again, it's putting the personal back into it. And I just think it's very important to be real and to be open and personal with people. I love storytelling, and I've often used that as a marketing tactic, is just telling my story and telling why I love what I do. And you said it perfectly when you said that when you talk with passion, it just draws people in because people can tell. And I really believe that especially now, people can tell when you are being authentic and when you're just
Mm-hmm.
being the person that wants to just make money. And I love that, and I love the aspect of our marketing brand that we just want to be authentic to ourselves and put out there that our whole goal in Ghostlight is to shine a light on your business. And that's what we want to do.
No, that is fantastic. Shifting focus, right? Because I have slight ADD. I'm not diagnosed, but I recently started rewatching the Infinity Saga for Marvel. Are you a fan of Marvel at all?
I love Marvel, yes.
Perfect, perfect. So I'm on this like I just recently like subscribed to Marvel Unlimited on the App Store, so I'm reading all the '60s comics.
Oh,
That's neither
nice.
here nor there. Um, it was because X-Men '97 was starting to come out, so I was like, I gotta like critique it like what everybody else. It
Hmm.
was a whole thing. But so so I recently started watching the Infinity Saga for the MCU. I'm on Thor, the Dark World.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's a boring movie. If you were if you were the marketing head, like if they hired Ghostlight for the Marvel Cinematic Universe starting from day one, how would you like attack that?
Oh my gosh, that's a big question.
I
It's
know, I
Marvel.
know. Like I said, ADD, my bad.
Uh, God, I think that you know it's they're all beloved characters, and they have been
Mhm.
for so long. I think I would really play into that and like show it's your childhood come to life. Like, and this is here are these movies, and they are real that you can see, and it is everything that you've wanted it to be live on screen. And I mean, I guess it really depends on how much like, you think of the Marvel fandom, and it's
Yeah,
okay. So, how many of the people in the Marvel fandom are only Marvel fans now that the movies are out? And how
yeah,
many of the Marvel fandom have been fans of Marvel since before the movies came out? So then
yeah,
it's kind of like you have to figure out how to position yourself in a way that, like, me personally, I was not a comic book kid. I didn't read comic books. I wasn't that my brother was the comic book kid. So
hmm,
I didn't do comic books. I was all music, all theater, like all of that stuff. So I was not a Marvel fan until the movies came out because
yeah,
I didn't know any better. I didn't watch anything with Marvel stuff. So when the movies started coming out, and all of my friends were like, "Oh, let's go see Iron Man, or let's go see Thor, or let's go see all this," I was like, "Oh, okay, let's go see it."
yeah,
So I would think, as far as the marketing goes, for that, it has to be kind of two-sided because you can't focus solely on the fandom that was from the comic books because then you would miss all of us that were not from that fandom.
yeah,
So you have to kind of have a two-sided approach to do that. And I would say the biggest thing for me was that I love action movies, and it was these big over the top characters, and it was stuff from childhood, maybe not necessarily something that I looked at, but I can still connect with the fact that this was from that time period and that it is such a long thing. Like, I loved in the Marvel movies, and God rest, I loved having the little cameos by Stan Lee throughout all the different
yeah.
movies. And I think that was one of those things, like, and I'll be honest, in the first few movies, I had no idea who Stan Lee was. I was not I was
It's
not
like
a
who's this
Marvel
random old
person.
guy?
And I was like, why did they just zoom in on this random dude on the bus? Like, he literally just looked at the camera, and what was the purpose of that? And then when I was enlightened, when the light was shown and I
Well, the
understood,
ghost light came in.
yes, when the ghost light turned on, I realized, oh, that is Mr. Marvel himself. Like, he is the person that does this. And I loved that. And then I connected to the point that now I was like looking for him in the movies and enjoyed going to the movies. One, because I love the action part, but two, I wanted to see where Stan Lee was going to pop up in the movie. So
Yeah.
I guess that's a very tough question for me, just because I again wasn't a Marvel fan before the Marvel movies came out, but I really feel like playing into that the
Nostalgia.
childhood, yeah, the nostalgia of it, and getting that would be like the top thing for bringing people in.
Nice. Now that was a pointed question because, yeah, I love that answer. It's the two prong approach of, you know, because that's been really big as of late, right? There's been a lot of childhood IPs that are coming into public domain. So you have
Mhm.
like the Winnie the Pooh, the
Yeah.
Blood and Honey series that's coming out, and I think
Whew.
they're doing a whole MonsterVerse because
Yeah.
there's a new Bambi movie coming out. So it's like there's these, Star Wars the same thing. Disney bought up a lot of IPs that were, fan favorites that had very, very cult followings.
Hmm.
And it's like how do you merge the two ideas in a way that, doesn't hinder what you got going on.
Right.
And I think you said it you said it perfectly. Like you need that two-pronged approach. Otherwise, you're gonna miss somebody. And
Hmm.
that's a part of marketing. Like you can't get everybody. You
Right.
can't have everybody coming around and being won over from one single strategy.
Right.
And I think that was a beautifully put way of doing it. And then I also love the fact that you were not a Marvel kid, and then you got into it because
Yeah.
it's a crazy story. It's a crazy story, and the comic books are kind of weird. Like I'm glad that they didn't lean so heavily on the comic books because yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp, that's one of my favorite, or Ant-Man, not and Wasp, but Ant-Man is one of my favorite MCU trilogies that are
Hmm.
out. Well, I like the first two. I haven't
Yeah.
seen the third one yet. I heard it was I heard it was really bad, but the Ant-Man in the comics, not not Scott Lang. It was not he was not a good guy. He was not a good guy at all. And I think that, side note, this is such a sidebar. Getting back on point, I think yes, marketing, you need to be able to adapt to the
Hmm.
situation, right?
Most definitely. I just really feel like, I mean, staying with Marvel, that was one of those that once they got you, they got you. And then having the little, it drives me crazy, but I understand the point. Having the little after credits scene and connecting, I'm like, that, thinking about the people that have to look at this storyboard and figure out how to connect all these storylines. And then it's like, we're going to take this movie, and then in 6 years, we're going to do this movie, but we're going to make sure that the after credit scene prompts that movie 6 years in the future. I'm just like, what marketing geniuses do you have working behind the scenes here? Because it's crazy.
So, funny thing, that was baked in, right? Because Marvel, they were doing that in the 60s.
Wow.
So like, yeah, they were doing that in the 60s. So with using X-Men as an example, I just recently got to issue 111 of like the original X-Men run, and I think it starts at like issue 10. They would, at the end of the issue, they would have another issue that was like a sidebar story, and it led to this. And then as recently as the most recent comic I read was Ultimate Spider-Man. Came out
Hmm.
in 2008 to about 2012. There was like this huge crossover event that they had in the comics, and it was like crazy how they did this. And so like you had to read all these different comics just so you could be caught up with what's going on in this story. And if you didn't, you would miss it. So I'm like, oh no, I gotta go type this in to go find it and
Yep.
all this good stuff. So I think that's another thing. Like you should, how I see it, you should want people to um bounce in your orbit, right? Like as soon as they
Right.
get there, echo chamber, you want them to be bouncing on this wall. And it's like, oh wait, but that's over there. Oh wait,
Yeah.
that's over there, and like keep going back and forth. And then I don't know, like start like three different businesses, and
Yeah.
that's how you do it. That's
Yeah.
how you do it.
That's, I mean, yeah, it's crazy. Because I remember I actually sat down about a year ago and watched all the Marvel movies in, I think they called it the machete order.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, but watching it and then thinking, okay, well, they didn't come out in this order, but then you watch them in the order, and I'm like, that's literally like the movie ends and the next one picks up right where that one left off, but it was like 6 years apart. It was crazy.
No, yeah, they did a really, really good job with that. Now, another sidebar, ADD is kicking in. Who is your dream client?
Hmm. My dream client, you know, and I know that this is very out there. I would love to work for Disney. Like
Really?
I I have loved I love Disney. I love everything about Disney. I would love to work for Disney, but I know that that would never happen in a free like a marketing agency standpoint because they have people in
Yeah.
house. But
Yeah.
as far as like for me personally, I love working with people that want to help people. Like I love that's like our kind of like our niche are the people that help people. We work a lot right now with lawyers. We work a lot right now with public speakers, that consultants, stuff like that, that the people that use their voice to help other people. That's kind of like our target market.
Nice. I love that. I love that. So you need so you would want to work with like Walt Disney. Like not
Yes.
even the whole conglomerate, but you would be like, give me Walt Disney in the 1940s. That's my
hmm
guy.
That's the one. He wouldn't have failed the first few times. It's like, let's
Yeah.
go.
Steamboat Willie wouldn't be having a horror movie made after him if I got done with
Oh,
it.
yeah. Yeah, that wouldn't have. Yeah. And he
Oh man,
definitely wouldn't have
that's
made some of those problematic films either.
ooh. Be on the right side of the war, right? The other.
Yes, God. Like now, come on, Walt, you know better.
Come on, man. Come on. No, yeah, that's Disney is great. I don't think I could work with Disney. I think Disney is volatile. Like that's like I feel like from a business side, I feel like if I got involved with like a Disney or like a and I tried like fan bases, right? I think a lot of fan bases that are baked in are extremely volatile. So how would you like if it was Disney, if like by some freak accident, right? Like tomorrow they're like, Ghostlight, we need you guys to run our marketing. How would you handle all those different IPs? Because like right now what you said was it's a lot of lawyers, it's a lot of basically people who don't have a bunch of things that their hands are in,
hmm
so you don't have to you can't mess up, right? So
Right.
how would you tackle that?
Well, once I came back to life and had the opportunity to really focus in on that, I think I would have to sit down with somebody, the executive or whoever, and I need it laid out on the table in front of me. I need to be able to see it. I'm a very visual person. So go and pick up all of these companies that you own now, and I want you to lay them out on the table in front of me, almost like a tree of life. I need to know what branches are at the top, what branches are at the bottom, where are the roots, and put it together for me so that I can see the picture as a whole. And then that's how I would start building the marketing plan is from the roots up and figure out what needs the most work, what needs the most effort. But the thing is, you always have to have that firm foundation and the roots that nourish the entire tree. So I would start there and then just start building. And then you have like the free hanging fruit on the top that's just kind of like fluff. That'll be the
Mm-hmm.
last thing that I tackle. But I guess that would be really the first thing that I would do is just go in and be like, okay, look, give me the entire picture. I need to be able to see it because in my mind, building strategies, if I can't see the full picture, I can't build you a strategy to get from point A to point B because I have to be able to see point A and point B to get you aligned to get there.
Yeah, yeah. I do not envy you like in that scenario because I I would not. I would just be like, look, we're about to trim some of this fat, bro. Like, we are getting rid of everything. We are starting from scratch at that
Right.
point.
We're
Because
bringing back DVDs. Get rid of Disney Plus.
Absolutely, absolutely. And here's why I couldn't do it. Right, I'm an avid gamer, and one of my guilty pleasures, not so guilty, I shout it from the rooftops, is Kingdom Hearts. And like I would have to fight Disney. I would have to fight them, right? Because in Kingdom Hearts 3, which, worst game of the whole entire series, still a great game, but it's the worst one in the series. And it was because of the decisions that they made, right? Like, they made this one decision, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with Kingdom Hearts at all.
I know the game. I have never played it before.
So Kingdom Hearts is basically take Japanese RPGs from Square Enix, so like Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, Chrono Trigger, all that stuff. Mainly Final Fantasy, and you put it into Disney's worlds, right? And so in those worlds, you're like in Agrabah, you're in Arendelle, you're in all the Disney worlds. In Kingdom Hearts 3, they got the rights to use Pixar because Disney bought Pixar. So we were in a lot of Pixar worlds too. So Toy Story, Monsters Inc., all that good stuff. So those were really good stages, like super perfect, super perfect. But while they were developing the game, Frozen had just come out. And so obviously we're putting Frozen in the game because why not? That's a great selling point. So they end up putting Frozen in the game. But the Japanese, they see things a lot differently than Americans see things. And so in the Japanese, like the director of the game, he was like, we're going to turn Elsa into the villain. Yeah. So in the Arendelle stage, they were going to turn Elsa into the villain. And, the villains, there's these beings called Heartless. Basically, it's things that don't have hearts. And anybody can get turned into a Heartless if their heart is removed. So, like, in my head, I'm like, dude, that's a perfect, story right there. Because Elsa, if you know Frozen, I'm sorry, this became a movie podcast. If you know Frozen, Elsa is going through these struggles of whether or not she's a villain and whether or not she's the hero.
Mm-hmm.
And so she at some point becomes the villain for some time. So it was prime for it, right? Like, turn her into a Heartless. Like, let's fight a Heartless Elsa and get her heart back. Right. But Disney was like, nah, no, we're not touching Elsa like that. So I was like, man, if it was me, I would have to like just get fired by Disney because
sorry, Elsa.
Like, I feel like the story trumps your. I don't know. That's why I can't be a marketing strategist, because I'm like, dude, the story trumps whatever you want to do. Like, right. I don't even care.
Nope, I agree.
Have you ever had that situation happen?
Often, yes. Oof. There's a lot of times when building strategy that it's like, well, something is going to suffer somewhere, and then finding the point that my strategy for making strategies is to have the least amount of loss possible. And sometimes it's very difficult because, like, for instance, I worked for a credit union as their marketing strategist. And I had these strategies their whole goal for their credit union was to reach Gen Z and the younger audience, because right now all of their credit union members were in their 60s and 70s. So I created a strategy to reach the younger audience, but they fought me every time that I said anything, because they're like, well, no, that's not going to work well with our older audience. And I'm like, But your whole strategy is that you want to get the younger audience. It shouldn't matter what the older audience thinks. You already have them. We have to work on the younger
Yeah.
audience. And they're like, nah. And I'm like, we should create a TikTok
Oof.
page. And they're like, no, we don't want a TikTok. We're a credit union. And I'm like, Gen Z is on TikTok. They're not on Facebook. Facebook is for the geriatrics. I'm so sorry. That's terrible. I should have said that. Facebook is not meant for the young people. It's for the people that are my age, 30 plus is Facebook. But
Yeah, exactly.
TikTok is now the place for everyone, but especially the younger audience. And they were like,
Yeah.
we don't want to do TikTok because we're a credit union. And I'm like, I'm just here by title.
You're
Like, what
leaving
do
money
you
on the
want?
table.
Like, what do you want from me?
Like we're gonna do a TikTok. We're gonna. God, I hate that. I hate that. Like I had an idea, of like a workplace drama in our sales organization. And here's the thing with salespeople, right? Salespeople, there's two kinds of salespeople. There's the salespeople who want to be on camera all the time, but they suck at selling. And then there's people who are like really good at selling and hate being on camera. And so I was the marketing manager, which was a catch-all phrase for Ryan. Ryan does everything.
Mhm.
So like I did a course. I made an app. Like I did everything. But what I was really trying to push for was a workplace drama for, the sales organization. So like we would be in the office. We'd have the bully character. We'd have like the super timid new guy. Like I was like, we got to do this. We got to hop on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We got to make it happen. And they were like, yeah, that'd be a great idea, but no, we're not going to make anybody do it. So you just do it, Ryan. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? I got to play every character? I don't got enough wigs. I don't got enough hats. Like, I can't do it. I cannot do it. I need you guys to be on board with this. And that's for anybody listening who is thinking about hiring a marketing strategist or whatever. Listen to the experts at
Listen
that
to
point.
them.
Just listen to us. Because, like, we know what we're talking about. We live and breathe this. You pay us to live and breathe this. So just listen. Like, I don't know. TikTok is the way to go.
I've never understood when you're going to hire somebody that has marketing strategy in their title and you are not a marketing person and you want to argue strategy with them. It is literally in my title. It is literally on my master's degree. It is literally on every piece of paper that I have marketing strategy. You should not, when you pay me, when you give me that paycheck, you should know that you are paying somebody that knows what they're doing and trust
Yes.
me. Just trust me.
No, yes, absolutely, absolutely. That is the PSA for all you business owners out there who think you know better than the experts. Um, that is
Have a little
one of my
faith.
biggest stresses. That is my biggest stresses. I tell people all the time, like, hey, if you listen to me, you'd be famous by now.
Telling you.
If you listen to me, you'd be famous by now. That's how I feel about it. And well, why aren't you famous? Because I don't want to do all of that. That's not what I want. But this is what you want. So do what I'm telling you to do. But that's neither here nor there. Let me get off of my soapbox before before we get banned or something. I don't know. But Trae, thank you so much for hopping on the show with me. I truly enjoyed the conversation. Where can we find you at outside of this episode?
Yeah, you could visit me on my website, ghostlightmarketing.com, or you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Ghostlight Marketing. Our logo is always the same.
Nice.
It's the Ghostlight.
Beautiful. And I'll put all that stuff in the description of the show wherever you consume your podcast. Thank you guys so much again for sticking with us for about an hour of your time. It was fun having this conversation. I enjoy this. And yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you guys on As Told By next time. Thank you so much. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace. Thank you for checking out this episode of the As Told By podcast. If you enjoyed what you've heard and found value in it, share it with 3 people you think could benefit. I also want to invite you to subscribe to the show wherever you consume your podcasts and turn on notifications so you'll never miss a conversation. We look forward to having you with us next time.